arises before the five sense doors, the Panchadwara Vachana Citta, which is a Kriya Citta. So it follows Vipaka Citta, Bhavanga Citta, they're Vipaka, then you have Kriya Citta, and then you have another Vipaka. What we were wondering is why is that Vipaka, why is that Kriya Citta?
What is meant by Kriya Citta? What's meant?
Well, it means it's not kusala, it's not akusala, and it's not result.
Okay. When it is akusala karma, it will condition the vipaka to arise. Akusala karma can only condition akusala vipaka, and kusala karma can only produce the kusala vipaka. But the Panchadwara Vachana can experience the object, no matter it's the object for the akusala karma or kusala karma. So it cannot be vipaka because it can experience both. And what about Manodwara Vachana? It's also Kriya Citta.
Manodwara is the one that arises, that is
adverting consciousness through mind-o.
Mind-o, okay, yes, Manodwara.
So can we say the same answer?
And it can experience any object much more than Panchadwara Vachana.
Oh, because it's mind-o.
Panchadwara Vachana can experience only through five senses, but Manodwara Vachana can experience all objects, to all doorways.
Including concepts.
Everything,
anything and everything.
That's why to learn to understand reality, it does mean that learn to know which one comes first and then followed by what. But it has to understand where are the dhammas. Otherwise we cannot find Dhamma. But Dhamma is here and everywhere. All are Dhammas. We learn to understand exactly there cannot be anything belong to anyone at all. They are only different realities, conditioned by different conditions, arising and falling away, never to arise again. This is the way to letting go one day the idea of self or mind, of everything as something permanent. But it has to be exactly moment, which really experience that with understanding. For example, we touch, there is touching here. As much as one can know is that it's hard. But what is it? It's never been known before. And there must be that which experience. Because at that moment it's only the hardness which is experienced. No thinking about that which experiences now. So we don't think about that which experiences in a day. We just pay attention to that which is experienced as something all day, all time, as thing. So as atta, not as anatta.
And Achan, the Pancha Dwara Citta, the Pancha Vijnana Vipaka, is the result of karma. And karma cannot produce just one. It must produce the following citta also. Same karma, the Sampati Channa, Santirana. So it's the same karma that produce those chittas. So is it just the way karma works that it has to be like that? And because Panchadwara Vachana Citta is before Pancha Vijnana, it cannot be a result of karma. Can we also say that?
Panchadwara Vachana, it performs a function like open the doorway for the other chittas to arise and perform and experience the same object.
Because before you came, Azita asked this question and nobody here knew the answer. The answer that you gave, you said that Pancha Dwara Vachana Citta can experience all objects.
Not all. Not like
the five can be a
Experience. Right.
pleasant or unpleasant, it can experience object, and it can be sound,
Yeah.
taste, anything. So, and you're saying that is the reason why it is. It cannot be classified as either result of good karma or bad karma. So before you said that, then my next question was, why is Santirana not Kiriya then?
Santirana is vipaka. So how many akusala vipaka?
So because Santirana is either akusla vipaka or kusla vipaka. Okay.
And if I remember from last discussion, one of the Santirana jittas is, isn't it? It can also be rebirth.
It can
Can be a
perform the
rebirth,
function.
function of rebirth.
What do you mean by function of rebirth?
The Santirana Jitta, which is in the Viti Jitta, it has several functions. It's not just that one function. It can also function as a rebirth consciousness, the same sort of Jitta.
But Santirana is not cause, but it's a result.
It's a Vipaka Jitta.
But how can it cause a rebirth? What do you mean by? I'm not sure about it.
Well, Patisanti Jitta is Vipaka Jitta.
Yes, yes.
And Santirana Jitta acts as it's the same sort of Jitta.
No, she's not saying that the Santirana conditions rebirth.
Good question. Good question.
It is, yeah.
No, he misunderstood.
No, I don't.
The answer is the Santirana can also be Patisanti, can also function as Patisanti.
It's difficult. It's a difficult area.
It is difficult because no.
Okay. How many vipaka akusla karma can produce?
How many karma?
How many vipaka akusla karma can produce?
10 in no.
Seven altogether, not more than that. And 5 performs the function of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, but the object hasn't fallen away yet. So, since it experiences, it's a vipaka of the same karma, so even that which arises after seeing, it performs the function of receiving. We have to think about function of jittas all day. After seeing what else, without sampatichana, it's impossible to know the object. Because the object has
is the
fallen.
result karma.
Yes.
Like Santirana, Sampitashana, and either the 5. So
Right.
5
Okay.
plus 2.
For akusla.
But what about Patisanti Bhavang Vibhak? Like
Okay.
for the lower,
Okay.
for the higher?
Yeah.
So
Akusala karma produce result. Is it not include the citta which perform the function of patisanti? Otherwise, what can be akusala vipaka patisanti? Because there are only 7. Akusala vipaka. Seeing cannot perform the function of patisanti citta. The 5 cannot perform even sampatichana. The reason is that among the 2, the sampatichana and the santirana, no matter the function is different, but what is more, just a little bit stronger. The sampatichana just arise at the heart base, while the 5 sense arises at each. And then santirana also arises at the heart base. The change from this base to that base, the first and the second. The first is not stable yet because it just arises, and the second one is more. So santirana only can perform the function of the akusala kamma as patisanti. That is the way Dhamma is. That's the meaning of Dhamma ta. But in Thai we use the word Thamada, means the way the Dhamma is.
Normal of Dhamma to happen. Like, so nothing is like wrong, weird, because Dhamma is normal. Whatever happens, it's normal to happen like that. Then it cannot be
by
normal.
condition.
It cannot be otherwise.
Yeah, then it's not Dhamma. Dhamma mean another word normal. Normal. Dhamma is always normal.
That's what Kun Nopadon was saying. It's the way it is.
The Thai use the word Dhammata, but they don't understand the deep meaning of Dhammata as the way Dhamma is. It rains, Dhammada, the way it has to rain.
So, what about that word niyama? Is the same meaning?
Niyama, the way it has to be.
The way
like,
it has to be. So what this one is different?
Yes, for everything, the way Dhamma is. It's the way Dhamma is.
Dhamma is nothing strange, Baba, because it's.
That's why there is also Dhamma Niyama as Dhammada.
That's what my question is, Achan. Is Dhamma Vinaya include the other 4 Dhammas? Or is it
Dhamma Niyama. Sometimes it's special more than usual. Like
what is, I can understand that there are not some Dhammas not included in those 4 is Dhamma Niyama. But the word Dhamma Niyama should also cover all.
It's just like the word Dhamma includes everything, but they're different.
Much more comprehensive, as I understand it. It's much more comprehensive. So when we're talking about some like the miracles of the Buddha that only he alone can perform, I believe that falls into that category of Dhamma Niyama also.
Mean the law of Dhamma, so it has to be like, what is Dhamma? Law. Niyam mean actually another word is like law. Yeah.
So I think that in order to study anything, we shouldn't just remember the number and when we arise, this after that, this before that, but learn to understand that this is the way Dhamma is as anatta. Getting closer and closer a little bit from taking things for self to be understood that no one there are only Dhammata.
Because Dhamma is not, it's never have a self before. ไม่เคยมีตัวตนอยู่แล้วด้วย
และจะไม่มี
และจะไม่เคยมีด้วย เพราะถ้ามีก็ไม่ใช่ธรรมะเป็นไปไม่ได้
But Achan, it's useless if it's not understood that the Dhamma is now. Dhamma is what appears now. If there's no understanding and just abstractly talk about niyama without understanding that Dhamma is what appears now, the seeing, the thinking,
or
the
without understanding this moment, it's just useless. Useless. It's the Panchatavara now, Panchatavara Citta, Manodavara Vachana Citta, always here and now.
That Panchadwara Vachana Citta arises before each sense door. So it's the same citta. I mean, it's not exactly the same because one has arisen and fallen away, but the next one, so for example, this Panchadwara Vachana arises before seeing consciousness, then we go through the Viti Jittas, then this Bhavanga, then this mind door, and then maybe the sound arises. So this Panchadwara Vachana Jitta again. So they're exactly the same jittas as
What
the
do you
one.
mean by exactly the same?
It's same.
What is
Well, it's a
same?
Kiriya Jitta, for example, and it performs the function of arising before
Oh, Vachana.
a Vachana.
Adverting to the object which is there, which has touched the sense door.
Sense door. And so it doesn't, does it actually It adverts to the object. So its
Because-
object is is that object.
What object is the
The-
object
well,
of
if it's
Panchadwara Vajana?
If it's diverting to, say, a visible object,
Mhm.
is its object the visible object that will be seen by Chakku Viññāna?
The first Vitichitta.
It's okay.
So your question can be put this way: the Panchadwara Vachana Chitta at the eye door or ear door or tongue door is the same Chitta, right?
Well, it's not.
Rupa.
It's same kind of jitta. It's
Pancha-
not the same jitta because one jitta is gone
same,
already.
Yeah, same Chitta means
Same kind of jitta. Yes.
right?
That's why we have to understand now there are flux of Pawanka.
Yes.
Nothing happened. But before there is seeing, it cannot just arise and see. But while Pawanka keeps on arising and falling away, and the object, contact, the sensor, condition, Panchadwara Vajana, but there must be 3 moments of Pawanka that we can say arise before Panchadwara Vajana. The Atita Pawanka, which means the flux of Pawanka, and then the Pawanka Jalana, and then Pawankupacheta, not Rupa. But before it can stop, while it keeps on going so rapidly, and then the object touches the sense door, it conditions Panchadwara Vajana to arise, to know, like the spider, while it's the web, which one comes through this? Yes.
So, Chan, it seems because sometimes we talk in terms of contact, we say that it depends on which object contacts which doorway.
Mm-hmm.
But we can also then say which Panchadwara rise in which doorway. We can also say the same thing.
It depends, because you see that it depends on Phassa, because there are 5 doorways and there is sound and seeing and object all the time, but it depends on that which impinge on the sensor. It does not condition the nama to arise yet. The first Vitichitta, which is not Pawanka, must be Panchadwara Vajana, which does not see, it just begin to know what's there. Like someone at the gate, you don't know who, but you know that someone is there. So Panchadwara Vajana does not see. This is why we talk about the function of Chitta. Otherwise we'll mix them all, which one. But there are 14 functions, and they cannot perform the other's function. They has to arise and perform its own function. So Panchadwara Vajana performs the function of adverting, not Pawanka anymore, to the object, but not seeing yet. Like while you are fast asleep, and then you are going to wake up, but you don't open your eye yet, but you just something that is not Pawanka, and that is Panchadwara Vajana. So whether it is seeing or hearing depends on Phassa, which arises with Panchadwara Vajana, because Phassa arises with each chitta. And while Phassa touches the eye sense, it does mean like Rupa and Rupa touch, but the Nama, which contact, we can say that. We can use any word, but it depends on the way we understand. Because if we think clearly, closely, we know that no matter what word is used, but it is that which performs that function. So it depends on Phassa. When Phassa contact or touch the noise, the voice, hearing has to arise. Because Phassa is there at the noise, how can the other chitta arise and see? It has to be the hearing only.
And you spoke before about, understanding jittas, but what you've just said there's more of an idea of how uncontrollable it is. I hadn't realised before what you just said about Phassa, that it has to be Phassa that touches the object at that Panchadwara Vachana.
With each citta.
I hadn't thought
Phassa
about that
arises
before.
with each
Each
citta.
citta, yes, yes.
Even Bhavanka.
Yes,
The object of Bhavanka,
yes.
it depends.
Just while you're talking about that, Ajahn, how many Chaitasikas are arising at Awajana, Panchadwara?
Okay, count if you like to.
Well, we know there has to be 7. I was wondering.
More than 7.
Are there
Only
more than-
10 have only 7. The 10.
Oh, yes, of course.
See,
Yes. So,
hearing.
at the Awajana, how many do you know, Ajahn?
So count. Count with understanding, not just
But
remember.
Ajahn,
You see that there are how many Cetasika which can arise with all citta, but that must arise with each is the 7 Cetasika. So there are together more than 7.
Vichika Vajara.
Vitaka.
Vitaka Vajra.
See, if you want to know number, it's useless. But if you know what is there and to remember and count, it's all right.
It seems to make sense that apart from those 10 Vinyanas, where only 7 Chetasikas arise, the rest would also need Viriya.
Okay? What are the 6 which can?
Pikinika.
Pakinaka.
Pikinika.
So you know. What more? Then 6 more.
Vitaka Vichara also important.
And what were the other 3? What were the...
Well, Vitaka Vichara, Chanda, Adimoka, Piti, and Buddhya.
So, Haji's
That
question
what-
about Santirana, right? Have 7 plus Viriya, has to have Viriya, no?
That's why we have to understand step by step by way of Ahetuka and Sahetuka. Then we can understand why there cannot be the other Cetasikas rather than this as Ahetuka, not more.
But akusala vibhaka citas has to be always ahetuka. You can't akusala.
How many Chittas which are Ahetuka?
18.
How many Chitta?
Or Chittas.
Yes.
Ayatuka.
Otherwise we'll mix them all.
7 just now you said.
No, I think... Ahetuka. Isn't the Agusala Chitta that performs the function of rebirth in a hell realm?
Now we were
No.
going to talk about the Cetasika.
We're not, or we are.
We're talking
We're
about
talking
Chittas.
Chitta with Cetasikas.
Yeah, Ahetuka.
Without
Ahetuka.
lopa atosa moha, alopa atosa amoha mean.
Ahetuka.
Oh,
How many are there?
Oh my
Ahetuka.
I'm not sure either.
This is very important.
18?
Yeah. Because we can classify Chitta by different ways. This is by way of Hetu and Ahetu, and Sahetuka and Ahetuka.
It's not
The
correct.
Akusala Kamma can produce only 7 Vipaka. This is to be remembered and understood, not more than that, never at all. But for Kusala Kamma, not only Ahetuka Vipaka, it also can produce the Vipaka with Hetu.
Sahetu.
Different. So Kusala Kamma can produce more result, Vipaka.
Ajahn, so when we born as a human or like Sugati Bhum, the Patisonti can be a Hetuka Kuson Vibhak also. So is that produced like making person mad or something like that?
Cripple or what you call?
Deformed. Yeah.
Crippled.
Disadvantaged. We call them. Yeah.
Pikan.
Disabled.
Disabled.
But like so you mean to say that
Blind, like the blind, the deaf.
So Ajahn, by disabled it means
Not
terms
as
of sense experience,
they can be seen, but like the
not hearing.
Panya on,
And so Panya on, what it means?
not as usual, not as common people.
So is that result of
Result
karma?
of kusala karma, which can condition birth in human realm,
Yes.
but pikan, disabled.
But I think like like the acting disabled and all that, this is Upanishad. That's not like that's too young.
We can see like the blind and the deaf, and the one who doesn't have leg or whatever,
Oh.
different.
Right. And what about people who are born with Down syndrome or something? Same. It is mental. We're not talking about the sense, this thing. So, how, in what way do we say, so how is it? Because if it's a normal person going mad in life, we say that it's his Upanishad, his
คือ
accumulations.
ท้ายมันก็ต้องเป็นอุปนิสัย
Can we judge?
We don't know who, when, but then so in the text,
But
what they say about
even so, the degree of karma, can we know that just a little or more than that, or through body, or what?
so it's a matter of being mad from the beginning, or not.
We cannot say at all, because you see that by the meaning of disabled, it means just not as ordinary person.
But I mean this disabled also mean that like not in the position to understand Dhamma also, right? It's something like
As-
that.
Like one who is cannot go to normal school and something like that. See,
Can't do like normal people.
Right.
Like that.
I understand that, Achan, but I still don't understand how is that result of karma.
is there no karma to condition rebirth consciousness?
Yes,
So how many karmas?
it's
They're
very
quite
complicated. I can understand
different.
that,
So
but
India
but
has
that
come Upanishad.
Upanishad, those chittas arise at the heart base. So is it something to do with the heart
what do you
base?
mean?
All the chittas except the sense door arise at the heart
It
base.
doesn't matter where it arises, but it doesn't affect anything. For the person who is disabled, they have that which arises at the heart base too. So
Right.
it doesn't mean anything at all where
But-
it arises.
But like disabled who like do stupid thing and all that is in the end it's not karma, it's the habit which they are
We
accumulating.
have to understand so very, very fine difference between this and that, because you see the foolish one, born to be stupid, cannot remember anything, cannot go to school, cannot pass the examination like the other, but the body is perfect. Seeing, hearing,
Right,
smelling.
right.
So it's not our own, which can understand this comes from this or that comes from that. That's why the karma is the reality which conceals everything. We don't know that now, the kusala moment now will produce result when and where, see, and how. So different. Only Buddha can. That's why the karma and the result of karma shouldn't be that which we is
Okay,
able
okay. I
to.
understand that it has to be involved. I understand, but so when we talk about people who are born blind, we know that no karma to produce
And what
ideas.
chitta condition birth, rebirth consciousness for the blind from
Yes,
birth?
from birth.
What chitta?
What chitta the of a result of a kusala karma?
To be born in human realm cannot be
Santirana?
Santirana kusala vipaka.
Kusala, okay.
Not the Mahavipaka. This
Okay.
is why they are different.
So it's Santirana Kusala.
Kusala vipaka.
Vipaka. And when someone is born blind, we know that we say that his there's no karma that produces eye base. Eye base.
ไม่มีกรรมที่ให้เห็นจักรประสาท
Eye base. Or if he's born deaf, no karma to produce ear
โสต
base.
ประสาท
So now I'm wondering about in the case of someone who's born mad. What do we say about that?
คือแมสมันก็
Mad, what do you mean by mad from birth?
Birth.
Impossible.
Or impossible to be mad from birth?
Yeah.
Ah.
Can, possible or impossible.
ที่ว่าคนปัญญาอ่อนไม่ใช่
ปัญญาอ่อนไม่ใช่คนบ้า
คนบ้าก็คือตั้งแต่เกิดไม่ใช่
ไม่เป็นไปไม่ได้
เป็นไปไม่
ที่
ได้
จะเป็นบ้าตั้งแต่เกิด
Okay, panya on. So what is panya on?
like we are ปัญญา
So what is it? So what is it? Now we know blind means no eye base.
Okay,
So
don't you know anyone who is panya on and cannot do anything? But are they mad?
No.
See?
mad okay mad mean like ไม่ได้ทำเลยไม่ได้แบบไม่เหมือนที่เขาใช้ like Thai word no สติ but I don't mean สติเจตสิก but I mean แบบ
It's crazy, basically.
crazy oh but they're different crazy when we also
See, I can
crazy.
understand mad in the normal sense. It's like
Okay, not usual as common people. That's all. But not mad.
yeah, but what is it? What is it that is wrong from
Okay.
the person who is born
ค่ะ
panya on? What is wrong?
เอาบ้า
Do you usually think madly?
Yes.
At that time?
Huh?
From birth?
No.
See?
ไอ้
But
คน
very
บ้า
often
โรงพยาบาลบ้า like that
From birth?
no.
Maybe.
That is not. That is not.
ไม่คนที่บ้าๆวงแบบคนโรคพิษ
No.
โรคนักโรคจิตอยู่โรงพยาบาลบ้าอะไรแบบ
From birth?
Not from
No.
birth.
See?
That's not from birth.
but that is has to be reserved karma
What is it? What is the result of that? What is it exactly when we say it's a result of karma?
Okay.
ตรงไหนที่เป็นกรรม
What condition the birth consciousness to be mad?
Yeah.
Akusala.
Akusla, yes.
What kind? Depending on the way that person was born. To be blind by such karma,
Yes.
to be deaf, such a, to be mad by the accumulation of so mad
mad
Cetasika.
It's interesting to note actually that the word mad, or it's in Pali, mud, M-A-D, is like when we talk about pamada, like Buddha encouraged people to be appamada, not to be mad, because madness involves obviously strong, different levels of akusala, but the root of the word, pamada in Pali is mud. We say mud in English, but it actually spelled, well, in English, in the Roman characters, M-A-D, but it's pronounced mud. So, I mean, there's a strong connection when we talk about madness between, which is like the continual development, as I would see it, of a lot of akusala.
But that's what Haji is saying, right? He's saying that sounds like the accumulations.
it's
It
not
has
like
to be accumulation for
แต่อาจารย์
sure.
แต่ถ้า
So,
แต่ถ้า
but when we talk about someone who is born that way, what is it that we're referring to?
Well, I would say, I don't know if you can say they're born that way. I would say that it has to be to do with their accumulations, and then they get into...
Some people born mad in a very good family.
Yes, that's true.
What do you mean?
No, somebody can be
Okay,
born
but
mad.
please explain the madness of that person.
Panya on, like
Okay, panya on is panya on.
Right. Panya on means no intelligence, no ability to do anything, to think anything right from birth, from the beginning. But why I was saying is because
I've never nursed a newborn baby that's mad.
you've
The
never.
mad baby.
It's a tiny newborn baby. It's not mad.
but baby is already they can't do anything anyway
No, but how would you know? Right?
Because-
But there are some that
So
would
you
be
cannot
mad.
say that the baby is mad.
That's what you're saying.
No, panya on. Okay, let's say somebody who is what's the English word? What would you call the English word? Use the English word for
Imbecile. We sometimes use
No.
imbecile or really
someone who is
really
born
backward. We say really
mentally handicapped.
really backward.
Mentally handicapped. Somebody is born who is born mentally handicapped as a result of karma.
Then when we're saying mentally handicapped, we're talking really about blind or deaf. I'm mentally handicapped. Yeah, there are people. I'm just trying to think who in that category. I'm trying to think of the name we would call mentally. We'd just say mentally handicapped. But that's usually not known until they get older. We don't know that initially.
Yeah, but we do know from the study of the Dhamma that some people are born that way. Whether you can see it or not, they are that way. Isn't it, Achan?
When they grow up.
Then only we can see. But even as a baby, they're still on.
So we cannot say that the baby is mad.
Not mad. Mad. What Achan you're referring to is certain symptoms that show that a person is mad or not. But what I mean each time is that somebody who is born mentally handicapped, and when the situation arises, people can observe that. As a baby, which Azita was just pointing to, the baby cannot show those signs yet.
Yes.
But when they can speak, when they can walk,
yes,
one can see.
Right. So you may be holding someone who's born mentally handicapped, but you wouldn't know.
Ba.
When it's not that degree, we don't call ba.
We don't
But
call.
it is ba ก็คือ
I mean, would you call
Up
it
to that
Sotapanna
degree.
ba? You won't call it
ไม่
Sotapanna
ใช่บ้า
ba.
แบบนั้นแต่อกุศลจิตก็
To that degree, we have to limit. But anyway, how many Ahetuka Chittas are there?
18.
Okay, that's right.
It's good. 18.
What are they?
Okay, so we must have the Dwai Panchavinyanas. That's, you've got 10 there. You must have the Santirana, Sampatichana, or Sampatichana 2, Santirana 3, 15.
Can we divide it into Akusala Vipaka and Kusala Vipaka and then Kiriya
Yes,
I think 7
Yes, that's 7 and 8. That's right. 7 and 8.
and 3
7 and 8.
and 3
Yes,
altogether.
and 3, and then the
7, 8, 3.
3. Yeah, that's the way of doing it. The 3. That has to be the Kiriya Chittas, the Manodwara, Panchadwara, and the Hatitupada.
No question about.
No,
Well,
you're lost.
Well, we've lost our train of thought now because we were. I'm still curious, Ajahn. It's still not tight. I mean, it's clearer to me. I really appreciate your clarity in helping us. But I'm just wanting to get, if I can, go back briefly to the Panchadwara, the 5-door adverting. So it's really dependent. It has to be a Kiriya Chitta because the object which arises.
It can experience both object of Kusala Vipaka and
Akusala. So it's really because it's the object really then that as you said has to be experienced. Will all be Kusala or Akusala.
Who doesn't have Ahetuka Chitta?
Everybody has.
Everybody has. Do they have all?
Do they have all? No, they won't. They won't have Hasitupada.
How much they can have? How many?
Well, they can have 17.
What is that?
Except Hasitupada.
Why?
Well, that's only Arahata.
Okay. Why?
Well, good question. Why Arahata? Well, because...
So we'll not forget.
Okay, it's a good question. I like these why questions. All right. Why? Because they're enlightened. I see. I think I understand why you're asking that question, Ajahn. Because the we can say I can easily say because they're Arahata, but that's not the correct answer. Please, any other people help me here?
First of all, what is Asitupata?
It's the smile-producing consciousness of the Arahata.
Okay, so you cannot have?
No, definitely not.
How many you can have?
I can have 17.
Okay. The blind? The blind, how many?
The blind, well, they could they're blind.
15.
-2.
Minus,
Because,
yes, of course,
Akusala
yes.
and Kusala
-2,
is-
yeah.
yeah.
Or if they were multiple, sometimes people are deaf and blind, so they would be -4,
and all that,
so on,
whatever.
and whatever, yes.
Just to understand.
Yeah, I see.
So now you remember Ahetuka Chittas. And how many citta of Arahata which can produce smile?
There is only that can produce smile. Just the one, isn't there? Pasitupada? No, I got used to you asking that again.
How many means more than one?
Well, yeah, okay. How many?
There must
I'm
be
not
pleasant feelings.
Degree of.
No, when it's when it's Mahat Kriya with pleasant feeling.
I don't know if that changes it. I don't know about that. Maybe you're on the right track, but I'm not sure. How many? No, I'm not sure, Ajahn, about that. I'd only be guessing. Please help me.
Who knows? Who knows?
I know there are actually 6 different types of smiles, and the Arahata can only have one. Yeah, there are 6 different types. I mean, in terms of, well, the commentaries talk about 6. Hasita.
Sita, Hasita.
Yeah. Upasapi.
Smile.
The first,
No
Oh,
smile,
oh,
smile, teeth showing,
And laugh,
sound coming.
the laugh
Laugh
two
loud,
laughing,
Laugh
laughing,
loud and
low
and your
people.
body shake.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
body
yeah.
shake.
No, I mean,
Mine
you're right.
is-
The
yes, it
the
is.
the Arahat can smile only
Wow.
without opening. Without opening.
No.
No.
Even Buddha smile with just a little bit. That's
Yeah.
why the Sapparanasri มาจากยิ้มของพระเจ้า
Oh,
I didn't quite understand. Please explain that.
like I mean, Buddha will like when Buddha smile, right?
Yes, yes.
He's very
Tiny.
tiny. That's why the aura.
During those time when he had those miracles.
ฉับพลัน
those,
ร่างสี
But like they also have like Anakami will not laugh loud, and Sodapan and
So what's the answer, Ajahn? Cut short.
What's the question?
เขาแบ่ง
How many types of
Laugh.
smiling chittas
คือแบบหัวเราะเสียง
for
ดัง
arahatas?
Okay, it means that Arahata can smile with hetu and also with a
without
head.
hetu, of course,
Yeah.
yes, of course, that's it.
But
That's
Buddha-
why we use the number of ahetuka, how many,
Sahituka,
including
of
that.
course.
Do we have all kinds of,
Yes, we Kutuchon have all that.
Except Hasitupada.
not with
Not
Hasitupada,
with
but
it.
the appearance can
The
be.
appearance can be.
With our Somanasa, can there be smile?
No,
No.
impossible.
So even Arahata has Somanasa with Mahakiriya,
But so in the case of Akusala, it had to be Loka Somanas.
certainly.
But Kusol, it can be so.
Somanasa,
But Ubeka
no.
cannot even that.
No.
The thinking of like a bit of the happiness, even though if you don't smile, even if the smile don't show, but the like your body, it has to be from the Somanas.
Or the eyes, yeah.
Yes.
The feeling of Somanas.
There can be Somanasa without smile. It doesn't mean that always smile.
There are some people, very rare, who lost their ability to express through the facial muscles. They don't
Really?
work, but they're still happy.
But usually I think that it conditions something different from usual when it is Somanasa.
เนี่ยรูปจะเปลี่ยนไปแบบนั้น
As you say, Ajahn, sometimes it's the eyes. So you're saying that the chitta has to condition
Rupa.
rupa.
รูปแบบ
Clarify on that.
Now we're talking about the Cetasika, which common, the 18 kinds of Cetasika. And we talk about the 7 universal. And what about the other 6?
There was Pakinaka, Vitaka, Vichara, Virya, Adimo, Chanda. That's 6. Piti. But can piti be kusala and akusala?
Certainly.
Okay.
With loka.
And so what was your original question? You wanted to know the other,
So that we
the other
talk
6?
one by one.
One by one, yes.
But Achan,
Seven,
is
six, seven,
sometimes I think
nine,
Piti
nine,
show the more than Somanas, or Somanas show, is it something like this?
It is different Cetasikas.
Yeah, it has to be different, but can one show the sign of more than?
No one, but it depends on the degree of Somanasa.
I didn't quite hear your question, Haji.
No, I think he's saying that
เหมือนสภาพ
when there's some piti and somanat there, but sometimes outwardly piti manifests more than somanat. Sometimes somanat manifests more.
It can be like that.
It depends.
We can say though that if there's piti, there's always somanasa.
No, Piti is Piti Cetasika and Somanasa is Vedana Cetasika.
ไม่แต่ว่าทุกขณะ
But usually they arise together, except the second jhana or whatever, Vitaka, Vichara and Piti and the fourth one.
So in Kamavachara, it's always together.
แปลว่าอย่างเช่นสุข like กายวิญญาณสุขเวทนา it has to be piti cetasik, but it's only have to be 7 in that case.
What do you mean?
You mean that because the 4 mean eyes, ears, smell and tongue is ubeka, but if you do this has to be either tukha vedana or sukha vedana. But this sukha vedana is only 7. The
Bodily.
Mhm.
Bodily.
Yeah. Sukh.
Mentally.
Somanasa. But sukh doesn't have
Of the
piti.
true body.
Oh. Sukh and somanas is different. Sukh is only when the
Yeah, that's vipaka.
Sukh is vipaka. But can they like vipaka?
After the Sukha Vedana, there can be Somanasa Vedana.
Yes, yes.
So it's quite not easy to know the difference.
And sometimes sukha vedana conditions, somanat also conditions sukha vedana. Means you're happy and you feel good throughout the body.
What about when you are sick but you are happy? Sometimes.
Yes, it has to be like this.
What do you mean?
It's
Like
so,
what?
like
Like
example which Haji just gave about the fish sauce smells so bad, but still there can be attachment. The thing is, it's so much experience through all the 5 senses and so much ignorance and attachment arising all the time that we don't know how, in the end, how it will come when it's in the mind. Or for example, Turian, how much we've accumulated through which doorway, what, and then in the end we like this and someone does not like this. But
just like now. So many things
it
wrong.
has to be, that's what I'm saying.
Who can see what comes first? And what is the first one of Pakinaka? Vitaka. Do you know how many citas it arises?
It's all the jittas other than the 5 sense doors.
Yes,
It's almost all jittas other than those 5. Those 5 sense doors
Almost all.
don't have.
Either all
don't
or almost all.
because vitaka.
So 79. 79.
No, the thing is that also, jhana.
Well, that's the 121.
121.
I think that I don't mind the number at all as long as there is an understanding of Vitaka is right.
To understand why vitaka, why they don't, why it's like how to use it in English? I want to use proper sapapicharo.
Not easy to talk about the function and the characteristic of reality at all. That's why no matter one use this word or other word, but it depends on understanding. For example, what are very close, the Phassa Citasika and Vitakka Citasika. But Phassa arises with each citta,
Yes.
and Vitakka doesn't arise. So what is the difference between the two?
ภาษา is like this ภาษาคือการกระทบ but วิตกะ is จรด like it's different
No,
but
and sometimes again, it's also good to, it helps, for example, to also understand not only the characteristic but also the function.
Right.
So that's where we can see more difference between.
Yeah. But no word in any language which can explain the meaning of the two. For example, touch. This touch, that is touch. But what is the difference between the two cetasika, like Phassa? Phassa just contact.
yes.
And then even seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching needs contact. But it just performs the function of seeing. And Phassa is just like touching, just more than Phassa. See, that's why Phassa can arise with all cittas, but not to see the life. See,
I've heard.
exactly กระทบ it's not like จิต
But
คิดที่ต้องตรึก
Vitakka and Vichara arise together.
except in
See,
sometimes.
except in, we don't talk about the other, just the simple or theพื้นฐาน, the basic. So when we talk about usually Vitakka, we talk about Vichara as well because they arise together, but they are different. That's why we are going to find out the difference between each cetasikas, how much it is like Phassa, just contact. But Vitakka touch that which is contacted and experienced.
and vichara
Later. Even they arise together, but they form different function. When there is no Vitakka, it's just touch. And you see how short the seeing is, unexpectedly. In the dark world, only that sees. No thinking yet about that, and we cannot understand the citta which arise before and arise later, like Sampatichana and Santira, impossible. And even Chavana, only Chavana can be known. But so fast, uncountable now.
And I think it's only when we hear that we can realize, because there appears to be seeing all the time. You know, you always seem to be seeing. So I think when you hear something, when you hear what you've just said, that it arises for such a short moment, that we realize how little panya there is and how great.
And this is the difference between experienced object in their life and at moment of insight, the truth.
Yes.
But at the
Yes.
same time, how little Pandya it is, but also the possibility that Pandya will lead to the understanding. Nothing else.
That only panya.
Only panya.
Yes, that's what we were saying the other day, that it is only panya that will lead. And I have another question, a little bit aside from this, but we were talking last week about not getting, you know, how long, how big, how long samsara is. And then I was thinking the other day about Nibbana, and I thought, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea how long samsara is. It's also like Nibbana. I have no idea what it is. We hear that it's the end of dukkha, end of arising and falling. But as to what it is,
we can't
no
know
idea.
until
No matter we try so hard,
Well,
we can get just very little closer to understand
Actually,
that.
not only Nibbana, for us, even what jhana is, we have no idea.
no
Jhana.
my but
Jhana.
yes like
But why do you mention jhana?
Because we don't have any idea.
we don't have enough wisdom.
We don't have any idea.
Jhana, you're saying.
Jhana.
Like Jan.
We don't
I'm
have
not-
any idea what jhana chitta is.
No, I'm
Might
not interested in jhana.
Same thing with you're saying, because you never experienced nibbana, you never know. Only a
Unless you're
sotapanna, only a sotapanna will know what nibbana is.
No matter we are talking about, if that hasn't happened yet, impossible to really know.
Really know.
Even the sukha vedana or somanasa vedana, so many kind of somanasa vedana with different kusala citta and akusala citta, we don't talk about that, but the different level of kama vajra, rupa vajra and lokutra, even feeling. We know just, oh, this is fine, very delicious, that's all. Only that feeling that one can, because one has experienced that. But that beyond expectation, because it hasn't happened, it doesn't arise yet. Only panya, which can understand that there are so many kind of even vanchitasika,
So what
even
you're saying,
sukha.
Ajahn, is that while we think we don't understand nibbana or how long samsara is, and we don't know how much we don't know.
Certainly. When we have reached that, we know that how much from the very little from the very beginning. Just to learn from words, from book, from hearing what is said, little by little. But not yet like sati, even sati. We think about, oh, that which is aware, and we think that there can be awareness of many things in daily life, like be aware, something like that. But that is not the sammasati.
What about you don't know that you don't know?
They're kind of the same, aren't they, really? It's the same thing.
No,
Well, you don't know what you don't know is talking about something you've not experienced.
Like you don't know what is nibbana.
Ajahn, can we come to something more daily life? What Azita was just referring to Vitakka as being the foot of the world. Can you say something what it means?
Only seeing, just seeing, nothing followed at all. Can we make any trouble? Can we make it the trouble of the world and everything?
So it's referring to what happens at the mind door? Or-
After that, immediately after.
Just see and then nothing.
Mhm.
What would be? But it's not just seeing, there is moment after seeing with vitakka of that object.
Oh, okay. So Vitakka arises soon after seeing.
Right. With sampatichana
With Sampatichana. Okay, that is the foot of the world.
and other chittas.
It leads on to more and more akusala normally. It's interesting too, just on that point, that the root of that, the Pali word vitakka is tak, and that's exactly the same as in English, tak, which means to kind of touch.
But when you say it leads on to more kusla and akusla, most akusla or kusla as a foot of the
More
world.
chittas.
More chittas.
Yeah, this is a good. It just goes up and over.
From seeing,
Yeah, but don't forget that it's not just more steps in between, and there wouldn't be more thinking with kusla and akusla if in between there was also another moment of seeing, another moment of seeing. At that time, there's no vitakka.
But that facilitates.
But how brief?
Well, I would say to that it's the vitakka that facilitates that process.
No.
Well,
It's
it's
karma, it's karma that conditions seeing.
Well, yes, I hear what you're saying. I'm saying though that without that akusala type thinking, which perpetuates that process.
Right. But you were just saying it goes on and on. But I'm saying it's interrupted by another moment of seeing, another moment. There has to be, in fact, there's also bhavanga in between. So,
Which it goes with.
And more attachment will
Right.
follow.
but
Usually.
bhavanga is not kusla or kusla, right? So even though there's the foot, even in bhavanga there's the foot, but there'll be another moment of seeing.
It doesn't matter. But we just talk the moment when seeing fall away. Without that which arises with vitakka, It cannot think about that which is seen. No
that's,
idea
that's
at
what I
all.
wanted to hear, because even previously I used to think like what you're saying, that Vitakka is the food of the world, in the sense
That's
that
why it's the
it
food
just gets
of the world.
keep on after seeing this, thinking about this. But Achan just said even the next chitta after seeing this Vitakka, that's the meaning of food of the world. So I wanted to hear more about that. I mean, what Haji is bringing out is a good reminder that we have to think, we have to hear Dhamma from every aspect. This is also one way to show the difference between Phassa and Vitakka. And it's helpful to just hear. And the other day I was thinking, Achan, we have your tapes, I have your recordings. Even if I was to live for a million years and listen over and over again, it's...
I think on DSG, somebody talked about if there's no thinking, there's no words. Was that what?
Oh, you're referring
Herman.
to somebody who's... Yes, that's right. That's what he said, something like that.
Would that could be right? If there is
Something
no
like that, but I don't know like what.
Well, yeah, it was a little bit, the whole post from that person was a little bit vague, but that's what he said.
What he said?
If there's no thinking, there's no words. But it didn't.
And what about thinking without words? It's possible.
There is
There
thinking.
must be
There is
thinking.
thinking without words, especially when you like the thinking that arises with.
That's why usually people take the Vitakka as thinking.
As the
Yeah.
stories.
But
that
they
we
have to
make up.
understand the function and the characteristic of
Yes.
Vitakka.
Yes.
Because when we use the word think, we think in words usually,
Yes.
but it is before thinking in words. Vitakka is there.
Mm.
But depends on the understanding, because if you're referring to the person who I think you're referring to, he's of the position that the Buddha taught to enter a state of where there's no thinking. So maybe he's making a point in that direction, that when you think a lot, there cannot be understanding. If you don't see that the problem is in the thinking, then there's no hope.
I think what sort of concerns me a little bit when I'm reading some of the posts on DSG is that some people really disparage the Abhidhamma. They said it's not the Buddha's words. Some people have said that it's written by people after the Buddha. So some people consider themselves.
And he
pure.
also is the person who's
After
after
the
the Buddha.
Right? I don't know why they don't realize that.
I never
like
thought of that.
They forget
That
themselves.
commentary is wrong, but this commentary is right.
Yes, yeah, and well, no, it's not all that. Also, it's the fact that reading the suttas is the purity. That the Abhidhamma, no, but the suttas.
They don't understand Dhamma at all.
Well, I think because I know I wrote something down here the other day, like it was, arise, sit up. What need have you of sleep? For what rest is there for the sick? Pierced by the barb and hurt. Pierced by the barb and hurt. And of course, when I put that on the net, somebody immediately thought, right, you've got to get up and do something. Because I think they consider quite a number of us on Dhamma Study Group that we, in fact, that we don't do anything. And, well, because a lot of them just say that the Abhidhamma is not the Buddha word, that only the
As a
Sutta.
person, what is Abhidhamma?
Yeah.
What is the yes.
What is Abhidhamma?
What is Abhidhamma?
Yeah. The best way is to ask,
Yes.
to let them know that they don't know. Otherwise, they think that they know.
Yes.
Actually, if they're talking about doing as coming down to chitta, cetasika arising,
What
right?
is-
Because there's no doing, there's no outward action without the chitta, right? There's no verbal action, there's no bodily action without chitta. So the doing is actually the chitta cetasika. So if they're talking about doing, then what is the doing which the Buddha would praise and be encouraging? Understanding, right? So understanding is what we're talking about all the time.
Yes, yeah. And I think that there are some people that you cannot help because they just do not get it, I would think.
It's hard.
It's hard, it is hard.
Ajahn, not to be, thinking that we are special or anything, but it does seem that without past accumulations, it must come.
No, I couldn't understand at all.
I think it always has to be a very sincere commitment to truth, and people may say sometimes that they fit into that category, but sometimes I think it's very evident that they are not being honest. So I think it requires, a real honesty to continually. Like one of the first things that Ajahn said to me once was, anybody can say anything, but I don't think people realise how much they are really not thinking for themselves. To always consider very, very, very carefully, and once that habit has been established, then I think it becomes easier. But it's not an easy pattern to get into without the right support, and to prove what they think is right, and they're not trying to sincerely commit themselves to what may be the truth.
No, it just comes down to only if Panya, after hearing the Dhamma, if Panya has arisen at the pariyati level, then there can be appreciation and continued interest. If it has not arisen, then it has not arisen.
Yeah, and getting back to the point that Jonathan said, while never happen ultimately. I mean, thinking carefully is obviously vital, to think very, very carefully, and then to use that knowledge very skillfully so that there is less opportunity for wrong understanding. But it's kind of a tricky process. It's not an easy path.
Ajahn, what impressed me the most when I came here in the beginning was just knowing that it's all about understanding now. That's it. If that is not understood, then it's just thinking, a lot of thinking.
Yes, but that there are people who practice just this be in the now, So it isn't just
But
the present. There has to be that, like you mentioned before, there has to be panya. It is only ever going to be panya that knows now.
Yeah, that's it. It's with panya that you know that it's now. Now means now, not another place, another time.
Now and with panya. I think if we spent 2 hours just talking about now and panya, it would be beneficial than all of the others.
Even Sampatichana Santirana is now.
It is now, it is, yes.
If one doesn't think that it's now, it's useless because it's I who read or I who know.
Actually, Dhamma is never something to do, it's to understand. Do is like idea of a self. Tham, trying is not to do.
That's a very good point.
Which is...
Well, it's either you or Dhamma. Right? It's either self or Dhamma.
Actually,
if it is, if you think there's a self, then you don't understand Dhamma. If you know that it's only Dhamma, then there's no you. So, Ajahn, understanding anatta is very important even from the beginning. Although with don't have direct understanding. For example, I was thinking earlier when you were talking about Thamada, I said, yeah, we think a lot about Thamada, but where is Thamada? Thamada is now, is hearing now, is
It's always
seeing now.
Thamada.
This is Thamada, but no understanding of this, but still thinking in the abstract about Thamada, like not about this Dhamma. So, but at least, even at that moment, there can be the understanding that there's no control, there's no, it's anatta. There's no understanding arising because it's Dhamma is anatta. Even that level, that is better than nothing, isn't it? And that is essential, because if there's no understanding of Dhammas as being anatta, then the self comes in and wants to experience, wants to do something to have direct experience. So Achan, what Haji is saying, nothing is abnormal, everything that arises, because it has to be that way, because
it cannot be abnormal.
because so many conditions from past and present, and because it has to be that way.
It depends on what is meant by
Which
abnormal.
abnormal?
Because even abnormal is normal.
Can I go back to the Viticitas? We've done Panchadwara Vachana, we've done, we'll take seeing, Sampatijana, Santirana, then the Jawana is either
Votapana.
Votapana, that was the one I was going to ask. What is that? That's a Kriya Jitta, is it not?
Why?
Well, why? I think I remember from way back that
Not remember, understand.
understand. Okay. Well, I think it's because it can't go from we can't go immediately from Vibhak to Agusala Kusala. There has to be something in between.
But its
Is that-
nature is chati, why it cannot be vipaka.
But is it because it is
No,
Kiri?
that's
No,
not
that's
the reason.
not the
Yeah.
reason. Okay, well then I don't know.
Yes, you know that the one which is Bodhapana and the one which is Manodavara. So, for the Panchadavara, they can experience objects through five sense door, no matter the object of Kusala Vipaka or Kusala Vipaka. So they cannot be directly from what Kamma.
From the
When it is
Yeah.
Vipaka, it has to be Kusala Vipaka, the result of Kusala. And when it is Akusala Vipaka, it has to be arise by
And-
Akusala Kamma.
and so that Votapana Jitta in the mind door, it becomes the
For the
mind
Manodvara
door.
Vachana, it can
Votapana.
experience all objects, including
Votapana.
Panyati.
that's what you meant, yes.
All.
Oh,
Can it experience Nibbana?
obviously, if it's all,
Oh.
everything,
Mhm.
it
But
obviously it can.
Not like the Kiriya Chitta, Mahakiriya. See,
So
it's like the
Mahakir-
stupid servant who does know who's a king and who's the.
I've not heard that expression before. The stupid
But
servant.
it's law like
Acharya say that it's stupid even when it's
Experience
Nibbana.
Nibbana, it doesn't know. Like the Lokutra Chitta, no Panya, to know that.
Always says dumb, just don't know anything.
So can you say that again? The Lokuttara Citta doesn't know.
No. The
Manodavara.
Lokuttara Chitta is with Panya.
Yes.
This one is without Panya.
which one is without
the
Panya?
Votapana.
Huh?
Votapana.
Lokuttara Tham.
Manodavara Vachana.
Manodhara Vachana Chitta. Yeah.
I
But
like
Kusan
that.
cannot be stupid even without Panya. It's not.
It's not stupid when it's
But
Kusala.
Akusala is stupid.
Now we're talking about Kriya.
Kriya is not.
About Manodavara Vachana at moment when it experiences Nibbana, it's not the Mahakriya because it is just that which experience.
It's not Mahakiriya.
Manotuvara Vachana is not,
Not-
Mahakiriya.
Right. But it is when it
It is
experiences
Kiriya,
Nibbana.
but not
Nibbana.
Mahakiriya.
It
is a
experiences
hetuka.
Nibbana, but it's not Mahakriya Chitta. It's just like your Kriya Chitta.
I hardly think so.
we have
I
Kriya
know.
Chitta. But Maha Kriya mean when it's like with Sopana Chetasik arise.
Instead of being kusala, it becomes
Kriya.
Kiriya because it cannot produce result
Ajahn,
anymore.
and what is difference between Mahakuson and Kuson?
The same, because for kuson, for all kusala, like
But-
rupa vachara kuson, kama vachara kuson,
Arupa.
arupa. But when we talk about maha, just only kama vachara, because it can be kusala in many ways, like giving and sila and bhavana and.
So you mean in when Brahm like they Kuson is actually limit, like they can't Bhutan and something like that. I'm not sure.
No, it's the Chitta. The Kamavachara Kusun can be in many ways, in Dana, Sila, Metta, Karuna. But from Jhana Chittas are very particular to the object, to
They cannot do dana at moment of being.
But so you mean to say I'm not sure that
There are
Wide.
there are two
Maha
different.
means wide.
Sama
Okay. There are two different words, maha kusala and mahakata kusala. For Kamavachara plane, it is maha kusala because it can do many kusala, not only dana. But for Rupavachara it and Arupavachara, they are mahakata.
You're talking about if you're born in a Rupa Vachara plane, then there can be what Kama Vachara Chitta also. Now we're talking about difference between the two types of Chitta.
Two levels. And how many Rupavachara chittas? So you know that they are different by levels.
12.
Mhm. For 15 for Rupavachara.
Or 15 is in 12.
Yeah.
Rupa Chan, I think Chan is either have Rup or Nam as their Arun.
Rupachanas is the Brahma which still have Rupa.
No, I mean the Chanachit, which Arun. Rup they don't have Nam. They don't have Tondu.
What are the objects of Samatha Bhavana
Rup.
which can reach the degree of jhana? For Anusati, it cannot condition to be Chitta to be that level. It can be only Upachara, not jhana. So there are many objects which can lead to only Upachara but not jhana yet.
Appana has to be.
Jhana must be Appana.
But Chan, I think Chanachit has everything as Arun because even there is Lokutara Chan also. Nipan can be
What level is Lokutra jhana?
Appana.
With Lokutra. And what is better? What is better and higher? Lokutra and Appana. Lokutra. But the person who can have both at moment of experience Nibbana with jhana or without jhana chitta, with that level of Kamachara.
But Makapon is not Chanachit. No.
Beyond that,
It be the
higher,
they are
Lokutra.
they actually I heard from who I'm not sure they are Kama Suk, Chana Suk and Nibbana Suk. So there are three kind of sukha. Actually this
So
sukha is
what kind you can have?
right now we can have Kama Suk.
When
We can't develop Chan but we can't have
different level.
different level of sukha. So you mean but Lokutara Chit can be like
With
คนที่
jhana.
สามารถจำนิพพานและเพ่งอารมณ์อย่างที่
ไม่ใช่
อาจารย์
จำไม่ใช่จ
หมายถึงว่า
ำหมายความว่า at moment of experiences Nibbana, the chitta which accompany at level of chanting first or second or third Rupachana.
But like I think that like after like Pariya Bukhon who get chant, they get remember the
before experiences Nibbana, not at the moment.
No, I mean okay. When they already be Ariya Bukhon, they can cow chant with Nibbana as Tarun.
Only for those who can attain jhana. That's why there are 8 Lokuttara Dhamma and
1 plus.
and 20, 40 jhana.
And also, not all who can attain jhana and become Arya will have Nibbana as object.
Depending on conditions as well.
Conditions.
But like Buddha can.
Buddha
He can do anything. Like he's a Buddha.
This is just a question that I was asked in Taiwan, and I touched on it last week at Tanajan. The person was asking about the Buddha's wisdom, and they wanted me also to ask if in the Jawana, because the question was, or the belief was that some Buddhas have wisdom all the time. And you spoke last week, Ajahn, about, well then what about Chakku Viññāna or any other of the sense door processes, and obviously there won't be wisdom there, but what about, and I know what the correct answer, well I believe I know what the correct answer is, but if somebody says, what about in the Jhāvana process, there must, for some Buddha, there must always be wisdom. So can you please speak to that and explain to the person who may or may not be listening that some Buddha, about the Jhāvana process in the sense door or the mind or sense door in this particular case, because this person, I believe, believes that there must always be wisdom arising in that Jhāvana process.
Did Buddha see?
Yes, of course.
Is it jhana? Or
No.
is it Lokuttara?
No, not at those moments.
And when we say that, I see all day,
Yeah.
do you understand? That
No.
all day not doesn't mean each moment.
No. So, so in the Jhāvana process that follows after seeing, there doesn't have to be wisdom at all, even in the case of a Sammasambuddha.
That's
No.
why there are Mahakriya Citta
Yes, of course.
with Panya and
Yes,
without
yes.
Panya.
Actually,
Yes, that's right. I understand that, Ajahn, but I appreciate you speaking to that, though. Thank you. I was talking with this person in Taiwan, and I don't think it was possibly limited to this particular person, but it's often said that people, when they think of Sammasambuddha, they think great wisdom all the time.
But as Achan was saying, it's all the time. Like when we say, I see whole day, I see all the time. That way you can say that he had wisdom all the time. But technically, when you come to it, it is not like that.
That's well said. I appreciate the difference, the nuance there that, yes, he was all-knowing in things that could be known in a general sense, but if we're speaking about the actual moments of citta, then that's
It cannot be.
Then I cannot be, and that's another point, another view.
So the processes of seeing, like it's the same for us as for the Buddha, just the same. It's the Jetasikas that are vastly different, and the jati of the chittas, but the processes of the Vidijittas is exactly the same.
No matter bird, elephant,
But-
or ant, or
And yes,
human being, deva.
spider.
Yeah. Because we talk about Dhamma, the truth of Dhamma.
Yes, it's interesting seeing the tiniest of creatures and knowing that there's Vitijittas happening there.
No creature.
No creature. Yes, exactly.